Welcome back to Midlife Crisisses. I'm Tyson, one of the hosts. Thank you so much for liking, subscribing, commenting, sharing. All of that stuff helps us continue to do this podcast, and we would appreciate if you would continue to do that each and every episode. We love you guys so much. We want to keep doing this, and that is one of the ways to guarantee. Nothing in life is guaranteed.
Guarantee it. Yeah,
okay, that we will keep doing this. So smash that subscribe button, that like button, that follow button, whatever buttons are there, smash them all.
And we really want to hear from you guys too. We want to hear about your midlife crises. We want to know what kind of stuff you are going through so that we can talk about it and share our insights about trying to survive this bull as well. So
let's get into it.
It's happening. You're dying. Or maybe not, but the people around you might be, and it's confusing. How should you approach it? Especially the people you love the most. I'm talking about your parents. Even if you don't absolutely love your parents, there's still the reality that the conversation needs to be had about moving forward. What should you be doing? How do you have that conversation with your parents? Maybe you're noticing they're getting a little slower, a little more forgetful. Is that because they've always been forgetful? Or is there something recent that's happened? Do you have siblings? Have you paired up with them? Have you traded notes? This is the reality of people in their midlife crisis, raising kids, and also questioning, what are we doing with our parents? We're here to talk about it. We don't have all the answers, but we've got a few. So join us this week on Midlife Crisisses.
All right, we're Midlife Crisisses. Crises happening all day, every day. William might be back from a crisis. William, how you holding up?
Holding up great. Dealing with a move right now. We're moving to a house. Instead of living in my apartment, I kind of moved into my apartment in a bit of a crazy state last year when I was getting divorced, and living here with my daughter is not ideal, and I'm trying to get something a little bit more stable for her. So we're moving into a house next week and just kind of finishing up, getting ready for that, which is really exciting.
Yeah, and I've got some crises of my own on this side. We had some repairs and stuff done to like a little deck that we had, and it's one of those things where you drop a pretty penny and no one knows because you didn't do an extension to your house. It was like something's broken on your car, but no one can really see it. And you drop a couple grand and you keep driving, and everyone's like, "Your pockets look lighter, but nothing's changed." You're like, "Oh, I know. I wish it were different." Have that, and then in the midst of that, we have this huge metal rail that they had to take off the second story, and I was like, I'll help you guys move it. Well, I didn't realize it was 8 million pounds, and I was lifting with my back and not my legs, and the next thing I know, later that day, I was like, oh, and I was like, my back was all tweaked up. A couple of days before that, I was at the dermatologist, and they were like burning off some sunspots, so there's like little like things on my hands. My back is out. I'm spending money that I don't. Real? Yeah, it's like all of this stuff just happens at once. It's like when it rains, it pours, right?
Oh my God, it's nonstop. It's crazy. Why does it?
And those
do
are the
that?
crises. Yeah, it's just I don't know why. That's part of the crises. It's waves, man. It just hits.
It just hits, dude.
How's your back now?
It's feeling much better.
Good.
I kind of know what to do with it. I have a Theragun, which is this amazing like apparatus which uses percussive therapy to release some of the tension in the muscle. I've got like some muscle relaxer that I put on it, use a heating pad at night, that kind of thing. So I'm feeling much better now.
You've read Healing Back Pain. The book.
Yeah. Thank you. Yes, I have. I feel like I'm the one that always brings that up, but yes, I have. Dr. John Sarno.
I own the book. It did wonders for me. I didn't even have to read it. I just bought it, set it by my bedside, and back has been great.
Healed.
The closer it gets to your physical body, the more help it is.
Those are actually the only kind
it's
of books
great.
that I read is the ones that sit next to my bed. And
I have a nice stack of books. I don't read like I should, but that's not the question today. Bradley Hasemeyer here. Today, what I wanted to talk about is something that people at varying times in their lives will be dealing with. We've touched on it a few times, but I wanted to kind of get the consensus here, or at least some advice and some thoughts. This is our aging parents. We one day will be aging parents, Lord willing as well. But have you had any moments with your parents where either you and your siblings are like, I don't know, man, like mom's forgetting some stuff or dad seems slower, or maybe it's an actual event. Like my dad had a stroke randomly a couple years ago. He's in great shape. It was just one of these fluke things. Kind of brings up that idea of like, oh yeah, they're not here forever. And you start thinking about, okay, this is, maybe your parents are 70 or 80. That means you've got 20, New Year's left kind of, when you start thinking about that, you're like, wow, it's kind of winding down. So anyway, how do you address this with your parents? If you and your siblings or even you are seeing something, do you wait for them to bring it up? We'll be coming up in the next probably decade to the point of being like, I don't know if you should be driving, Dad. Like he was driving my mom's car the other day and it was like, I backed into something and I didn't even see it. And I was like, it's pretty big, like those types of things. And so
they blame it on the thing too.
Of course, it's always who put that trash can there in the clearly marked trash can space. So anyway, I wanted to kind of bring that and see where you guys are with that. Because some people have young parents, old parents, all that kind of thing. So I wanted to throw it into the group. And I know a lot of the people listening and commenting and sharing and all that kind of stuff are going through this as well. It's just a numbers game where if you're in your 40s, likely your parents are in their 60s, 70s, 80s. People are having kids later, which means people are going to be having this conversation. My son's 5, so I'll be 80 when he's 40, basically. I want to throw that in.
Cool.
Okay.
It's a difficult subject. It's definitely starting to materialize for me and my sisters, and it's really nice to have my sisters to talk about this kind of stuff with. My mom she was diagnosed with CLL, which is a lymphoma, 15 years ago or something like that, 13 years ago. And she's never had to get treatment. It's one of those cancers that's just really slow acting. And when she got it, her doctor said, chances are you'll probably die from something else related to old age because it's just that slow of a growing cancer. So she's had it for 13 years and she's been doing transfusions, but she's been able to keep the symptoms at bay. But then just recently they came back from being in Mexico for a while. And my mom was just super tired and had a headache for a week and a fever for 2 weeks. And then, so she went in and she just started getting treatment for the CLL. And I'm actually taking her to the hospital later today just for her treatment. So it's weird. It's especially with something like this for me, because when she first got diagnosed with it 13 years ago, I was like, I'm going to have to steel myself. This might be it. It was great, which was just crazy. But you always go to the last, the worst possible thing when something happens. Right. And then now 13 years later, it's holy shit. I can't believe that. I felt like that at the time. And now that you're getting treatment, it's you're going to be fine again. But I don't know. It's tough. It's so weird. Yeah. So me and my sisters are talking about it a lot lately and trying to figure it out for ourselves. So I'm really interested in kind of how you guys have navigated it. And then for me and my sisters, it's been good.
Do you talk to your parents about it or no? Just your sisters?
I mean, obviously we talk about her being sick, but we don't really talk about the general cognitive decline that is happening or might be happening soon, and what's next, and just the more general stuff about them getting more advanced in years. And it's getting to the point where we're going to have to soon, and me and my sisters are trying to figure out the best ways to navigate that, but we're not really there just yet. So I think that this is good for me to talk about too, and hopefully learn something from either you guys or from some people listening today.
Oh, you're not learning shit from me. My parents are over 70 now. So they're in that age where you're okay, they're old, but there's days where you look at them and they're doing great. They're doing totally fine. And then there's days where you look at them, you're you're looking old today. You're definitely looking rusty. You're moving slower. Your things aren't whatever's happening. And it's concerning, but also like, when do you like, I haven't addressed that with my parents at all. My dad has had this nagging shoulder injury that he's had for like 20 years. And he's just like refuses to get it fixed. I was like, Dad, if you would have just gotten surgery 20 years ago, you would have had 20 great years with a pretty good shoulder, probably. But
no, so this is where Tyson gets it from. Wait a minute, he
The
didn't go
refusal
to the
to trust the
doctor?
doctors.
Shocking. This is shocking.
well,
Busted.
now the doctor's telling him, like, you may as well just write it out. If you can do most of the things you love without like extreme pain, then be cool, then whatever. But because I think he mostly like this extension above his head is like, he can't do stuff like that. Are we still okay, you froze. I froze. Anyways, I haven't ever talked to him about it other than like, just take care of yourselves a little bit, guys. Like, that's pretty much it. I check in on them. I live in a different state than they do now, which the distance makes it a little trickier. But also, like, I'm in business with my dad. I have a lot of financial stuff wrapped up with him. And I also like don't fully know if something were to happen, like what would happen to my family in that instance in those business ventures. And it's also a weird thing to bring up and be like, look, hypothetically, Dad, if something happened to me, not to you, to me, I'm saying.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Put it on yourself. Put it on yourself.
What would you have me set up for you?
Yeah.
And then be like, and
would
then
he get pissed if you were like, let's have a genuine chat. I want to talk about business stuff. If you pass away, what's in place? What do I need to know?
No, I don't think so. I just don't feel comfortable doing it. Because he's at some point, like, he could definitely retire. Yeah. He loves working. He loves like building empires. And that's like, he just loves to do it. It's his social, it's his brain, it's his physical. He gets a little bit of everything from it. And so he just keeps going. But he has one time just been like, I'm not going to live forever. Why does it even matter if I'm, and I was like, yeah, that's a good point. Like, does it matter? Do you want to keep doing it? Do you, but he does want to keep doing it. So he's definitely had that. He's definitely said that to me before, but I need to be more proactive probably on that stuff at some point and just be like, worst case scenario, but inevitable at some point, this is going to happen.
Yeah.
What do I need? What do you need? What should we? But I think you just have to have a hard conversation at some point with your parents about this stuff. And I think it's easier for me to give them advice on their health if they look like they're in decline or if they are struggling with stuff, and be like, hey, this helped me. Hey, maybe do these exercises, or, go get your shoulder checked out. It may as well, because if it's hurting way worse at 90, why not have just gotten it taken care of when you were 70 type of thing. Right. So those are easy, but the more difficult are, if you pass, what do I need to know?
What do I get?
Yeah.
Right.
It's not,
when you die, what do I get?
But then that's how it always is going to sound to me. Yeah. Like, it doesn't matter how you phrase it. That's what it's going to sound. And I don't want it to sound like that. And my mom right now, my grandma, I have a grandma still alive, and my mom is there with my grandma, and her siblings are already like, who gets what and how gets what and how much is what and all this stuff. And my mom's like, I don't even want to be involved in it. It's like a lot, and it feels weird, and it definitely does. And I think that's part of it, because, they're your parents and you want them to know that you love them, but also, like, my dad has given me so much advice throughout my life, financially and business wise, especially. And I'm also, because I'm in business with him, like, I should probably know some of that stuff is in place for my peace of mind, but I don't. I'm just assuming it's fine.
I wonder if some of these conversations are like those conversations that you dread having so much
Yes.
but they're not as bad as you think they would be. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm just guessing here, but I wonder if it's actually that terrible, or if it's more like the anticipation of having it and then like getting it over with isn't that bad. I'm trying to think about how to address it myself, and I think that that's a good philosophy to take for it, just to get it done with. But then also having those conversations, I think it's probably pretty important to have like a clear kind of outline of what you want to talk about with them too. So it doesn't end up getting too sad or whatever. Like, keep it to business stuff, strict stuff, and yeah, the most important things.
I think that's a good call. I also think, I'm picturing myself walking through this conversation as well. I think my dad would actually be really open to it, just the way he is. When he was, I think he must have been like 23, I think is when he had me. I was 6 months old. His dad was climbing a tree in the front yard and cutting off branches, and he fell out of the tree onto the sidewalk and died, basically right there.
Brutal.
He had just had a fight with my dad's brother, so my uncle. And that always sat with my dad as like, I never want there to be like a bad blood moment, And we've had some disagreements, but there hasn't really even been a bad blood moment. But he's always so conscious every time we come over to the house, like we drive up there, he'd fly in when we were in New York or LA or whatever. He would always be like, hey, can I talk to you for a minute? And he's like, I just want you to know how proud of you I am. I love you so much. And basically like, we're good. And so there's a little bit of that mentality with him already, where it would get sticky. And I feel like man to man, I could sit down with him and be like, Dad, let's talk. Like, how you doing? What's going on? There's a little bit of pushback with him where it's like, well, my doctor says my blood pressure's high, but I don't want to get on any drugs, because those drugs, like they start you down this path and then they go here and then they go there. And you're like, oh, okay. I mean, I hear that to some degree, but also you're not actually cutting out the ice cream and the bacon that you say you're going to. So we gotta combat this somehow.
Is he eating those at the same time?
Yeah, ice cream bacon. It's fantastic.
Delicious.
He's an efficient guy.
Yeah.
Actually sounds pretty good.
It does sound
It's your
good.
sweet, your salty.
Like some chocolate fudge ice cream with some bacon bits in it.
Bacon?
Yeah.
I think we just came up with that. It'll be called Midlife Crisis, and it'll be a Ben and Jerry's flavor. I think it could do well.
And then
I see some branding.
When you buy it, it actually comes with a prescription for medication.
It's beautiful.
Or
Yeah,
high
I
blood
love it.
pressure.
For
Right
high
on
blood
top
pressure.
is some cholesterol meds,
Yes.
like just taped on the top of it.
Yeah. In a little plastic pop out thing.
Yeah.
The lid has holding them underneath.
Oh yeah, that's so good.
Yeah.
So I think that there's that where it's like we talk about. He's like, oh my cholesterol's a little bit high, but I don't want to get on this or Lipitor or whatever the things are. But where it would really be tough is if I talk to my mom about my dad passing, because I think for her that's real scary.
Yeah.
And I think it could go either way
I think it's really scary for
the parents, but I think it's scarier for my mom that my dad passes than my dad if my mom passes. And that's no knock on who they are. It's just kind of like, I think any time that would happen, I think that would be hard because you've been with this person for virtually ever. But in that case, I think talking to the person directly rather than potentially like running it through the significant other might be the better way to go.
It's also just hard for anybody, like looking at their own mortality, it's a scary subject. And when our parents are getting to that age, like it's got to be on their minds. And I wonder if we've got a couple of things actually, but I wonder if it's like a relief for them to talk about it too, in some ways.
That's a good point.
Just in like,
almost like they're having the same conversation on their end. Like,
right.
I don't want to bring it up because Bradley will get scared that we're going to pass away or that one of my siblings. Yeah, that's a good point.
And also, a lot of it kind of is on the parents too. So I wonder if it's good to, like, before you talk to them about it, like, don't set it up like a ambush or whatever, but just be like, hey, mom, dad, I just want to talk to you guys about your health and what's going to happen in the next 10 years. And I don't know if you've had a chance to think about that, but maybe we could talk about that in 2 weeks or something like that in a week. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To give them time to kind of get their stuff in order, because
It's not like,
it's probably
hey,
harder
how's your
for them.
Saturday going? Good. How are you guys? Good. Yeah. What's going to happen when you die? I
Yeah,
just wanted to like check in real quick. Can we couch this for a little bit later?
But the funny thing is when my kids ask me that,
yeah,
I have no issue answering that. Is that because death doesn't seem like it's knocking on my door yet? Or is that because like, as a parent, I just like want to comfort my kids and let them know things are going to be okay. And I've thought of them and taking care of them and doing my best. And so, like, I don't know. I think
so. I think because it's still so abstract and so far away, but when you're getting more advanced in age, it's like, it's not abstract. It's like, it's coming at you.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty different situation.
Yeah. Well, the good news here is that William's dad listens to these, so he'll be able to be prepped for this conversation before.
I know. All I can think about is, like, should I tell him not to listen to this episode? Should I tell him?
You have a couple weeks now of a buffer. You have now it's a to-do list with an actual date for you.
Yeah.
One thing that's hard with my parents is like, oh, my dad's gonna love this, but my dad's always been such a crazy driver that now it's like, what is because of old age and cognitive things, and what is because he's from Brooklyn and an insane driver? Like, how do you measure that? And same with my mom. Like, my mom's always been so forgetful forever.
Right.
It's like, okay, is she forgetful because she's super fucking forgetful, or is it because of cognitive shit? So
right.
Yeah, and
that's been going on. Me and my sisters have been talking about that for years and years. Like, probably like 5 years ago, my sister's like, oh, I think she forgot this. She's getting older. She forgot her keys. Yeah. I'm like, she forgot her keys when we were in diapers. Like, this is not.
She forgot me at the mall. Come on, guys.
That's funny.
Sorry,
That's
Mom.
funny. Yeah.
Love you.
Yeah.
Tyson, do you have siblings?
I do. I have 4. Yeah, there's 4 of us total.
Do you feel like you share this responsibility with them? Like, is this something you guys like powwow about, or has it come up, or is it more like, we'll just let Tyson figure it out and we're all going to be quiet?
No, more with my brother. But even then, not hardly at all. And my sisters, like, we don't talk about stuff like that with my 2 sisters.
What's your
brother.
Older brother or younger?
My brother's younger than me. So it's me and my brother are sandwiched between 2 sisters.
Okay. So what about the eldest sister? Do you think that she feels like more obliged to handle this kind of thing?
No, I don't think so. I think me and my brother are more in that role together as the head siblings, maybe. That's maybe just how I feel too. Maybe they feel totally different.
Sure.
But so I don't know. I don't know how they feel. My brother works with my dad daily. So my brother's in the office, sees my dad all the time, all that stuff. So he's maybe even feeling it a lot more than I do. But yeah, for me, it's not a stress yet. It's like, I put it to the back of my mind and I'm like, I'll talk about it at some point, not right now, but when something more catastrophic than a 10-year-old shoulder injury happens or something. Right. I don't know. I'm just procrastinating it because it feels uncomfortable.
Yeah. And I think facing your mortality is tough. I think especially for guys. I feel like my dad, for instance, again, he had a stroke randomly a couple years ago, and he was just pushing himself too hard. He was like cutting the grass and then trying to run in and do pull-ups and come back. And I know, it's like, he was just like, let's go, you know, and he's like by himself.
Was it on a day where he was like, I need to get in better shape and do more things? So like, I think that was his routine regularly.
No. It was also the time where he was like, oh, I'm heading to the beach for like a week. I'm not going to have a chance to like work out. Let me get some of this in. We'll be traveling for a while. But he was also just coming back from having basically this type of conversation with his mom, who passed away maybe 2 years ago now. So it would have been like 7 or 8 years after that meeting. But it was getting her affairs in order, the will, who's the lawyer to go to, like all that kind of stuff. So I think emotionally he was stressed out, and then physically he was stressing his body. But the good news is he didn't just try to like man up and sleep it off, because he's like, maybe I'll just take a nap. And he's like, I'm throwing up in the shower randomly. This is weird. So he got that taken care of. But then we were there just for spring break just last week. And I was like, hey, Dad, what's the cut on your hand? He's like, oh, yeah, I was running through the neighborhood. I wanted to do 3 laps. And on the 3rd lap, I came down and my feet started going quicker and I just fell right on the top of my head. And I was like, what? You didn't even tell anybody? He was like, yeah, I came in. And the only time I realized it, I decided I need to take a shower because I got blood all over my face and my arms and stuff. And took a shower and came out, and your mom was in the office working. And I said, hey, what's up? And she said, are you okay? And I said, yeah, I think I'm going to go take a quick shower. And she's like, you just took a shower.
Bro.
And he was like, I guess I did. Another time we were at home. I just forgot about this until now. I heard at like 3 a.m. My ears are attuned to this because Loic will wake up, right? If you have younger kids, you're just like, you're always at the ready to like pop up. And so at like 3 a.m, I heard dishes downstairs and I was like, what in the world? Yeah, so I went out to like the landing and I'm looking down. My dad he's in like workout shorts, no shirt, tissue paper up both sides of his nose with blood coming like they're red. And he's doing the dishes. And I'm like, is he asleep? Or did he, like, what happened? And I was like, hey, Dad. And he's like, oh, hey, what's going on? And I was like, well, it's 3 a.m. and you've got a bloody nose and you're doing dishes. You tell me. And he's like, I woke up. I couldn't go back to sleep. And I figured if I'm up, I may as well do something. And then my nose, it just kind of gets dry and bleeds. And so for me, there's these simple little events that kind of keep popping in. I mean, the stroke wasn't simple. That was a big deal. Lots of doctors, lots of hospital stuff there, but no lasting effects. But like all these little simple things that wouldn't be a huge deal in your 40s or even 50s now are a bigger deal. And so that's kind of what's got me kind of like wondering, like, because if he had fallen, I mean, he fell right on the top of his head. That could be a big deal at that age.
At any age, falling on the top of your head is bad.
And so all of a sudden I'm like, that is low on the list of things to do today.
Yeah.
So then all of a sudden it's like, well, you're just living your life. And then one of those smaller things that wouldn't have been a big deal now is a huge deal. Or dad passed, or dad has brain damage, or, whatever. And you're like, what? I thought we had more. I thought we had 10 more Christmases. I thought we had 20 Christmases, whatever. So I don't know, that was part of what kind of like was the impetus for this question. And maybe I think because, like Tyson, to your point, maybe because there's some of these events kind of coming in, it creates more of an opportunity to kind of be like, hey, Dad, remember this happened? And let's have a talk about, what the plan is or whatever. I don't know, rather than just like randomly bringing it up, like you were saying with your dad with like, how's your shoulder? Good. So, and about death, let's talk about, So I don't know, maybe I should be scheduling something with him.
Yeah. Also, my mom, I think that she had a really hard time, like her parents had a really hard time when they passed and stuff wasn't really like properly in order or anything. Yeah. And it was pretty terrible for her and her sisters. So because of that, I think that she's like going to work really hard to make sure that doesn't happen when she passes away. So that's what I mean, that a lot of it's kind of on the parents too, to figure this stuff out. Yeah. Because like, we should have conversations with them. It's important. We need to. We don't want to like just have something that we dread forever instead just get it over with. But at the end of the day, like they make all their wishes and they decide what has to happen. Yeah. So if anything, I think it's good, kind of like I was saying, to like let them know that you're thinking about this. Ask them if they want to talk about it sometime soon, and if they've thought about it themselves, so that maybe that'll kind of help them to start getting it like an idea of what they really want as well. What I think is terrifying too is like my daughter's reaction when my parents inevitably pass away. I think that's really scary. Like, I don't know, she just loves them so much, and death is so different and weird for younger kids. So that's, I dread that almost.
Depends on how old she is. Because like my grandparents passing, my grandpa passed when I was like 21, and that was really hard for me. My first grandpa that passed, and then I still have a grandma who's alive who's 95, and my grandpa, her husband, died like 2 years ago at like 93, and that was like, he's old. Like
it hits different when you're 40.
It hits different when you're 40 and when they're 90
when they're
versus
really
versus when you're 20 and they're 74. Like that was hard. And But even at that point, like my parents, I think like it's devastating. Like if we had either mine or Rachel's parents, if anything happened to them right now, it would be devastating for my kids currently at 9 and 6 years old. Yeah. But when they're 20, 25, 30, that's more part of life now. That's not, they've probably had some experience somewhere with death by that point. So I'm just keeping my fingers crossed that we get everybody to the 20s or 30s before we have to even have a real hard conversation about stuff like that.
One thing that I've thought about actually just last night, that's funny that this is coming up, is that like when my mom got diagnosed with cancer 13 years ago, and when my dad's had like our open heart surgery and he's doing well, but there was a time too where he was pretty sick from that. It's like, selfishly, as a guy, as whatever, it's like, well, my parents are amazing and I had a lot of really great memories with them, and like that would be really terrible, but also like, I love them, they love me, like peace out.
That's like life.
Trying to justify it. That's life. But then last night I was thinking about like, that's a really selfish take on the whole thing. And maybe the question that I should be asking is like, what do my parents want to do in their, like, at the end of their life? Like what things did they still want to do with me, not with me, like outside? It could be as simple as like watching a movie together or like spending more time doing this or that. But like, that's, I think, a better way to ask that or like approach that, is like, that's a super selfish way for me. Like, my parents were awesome. Like, they loved me, blah, blah, blah. It's more like, hey, you guys have such X number of years left. What can I do to help you, like, do shit that you want to do that you haven't done, or like spend that time how you want to spend that time? Like, how can I help that?
That's cool. I really like that. That's a cool idea. Like too. Also, like a real positive spin on how to get into that conversation,
Totally.
Yeah.
I think it's a smart way to do it.
So what are we going to do here? Bradley, what are you going to do with your parents here?
I'm just going to let my parents listen to this podcast and let them take it from there.
Let it do the work for you, baby.
That's the best thing, is that, William, anytime it's a family thing, you just know somebody's going to listen and it's going to come back and you're going to have, everything's going to be fine. Bradley and I, we have to come up with a game plan here. Bradley, what's your game plan moving forward?
I really like what William just ended with there. That idea of kind of like setting the parents up. We're in the midlife, and we'll be in this kind of season for a while. We're battling a war on two fronts. We're raising kids and we're helping our parents. And you start to lean one way or the other, I think, like as your parents maybe, get older, now they're in hospice or whatever. Now you're really involved, or your kids are super young and you're super involved. So I think you kind of move in between this, kind of vacillate in this period. Mm-hmm. And we're there, we're in it. And so we have to embrace that. There's no way out of it. And so I love that kind of positive take that William has, where it's kind of like, how, it's just like I would talk to my kids and be like, what do you want to be when you grow up? It's kind of like we're asking the same question. We're just kind of caveat is, okay, let's say you've got 20 years left. What do you guys want to do? Because I also think for my own life, it's easy just to get stuck in the like day to day. It's like, oh, I think I'd like to start a business, but like also I got to do this. And then you turn around, you're like, oh, there goes 5 or 10 years. Yeah. And if you've only got 20-ish left, then that's a lot.
6 of those years were on Instagram.
Scrolling, wasting it, right? But you also, in an earlier episode, Tyson, you had even mentioned this too, the idea of like the American thought of like, I'll just work until I can finally retire, then I'll travel the world. And you're like, at 90? You're going to take a 14-hour flight to Sydney? No, you're not doing that.
I don't even want to do that now. I want to be in Sydney, but I don't want to take that flight.
Right. So it's like, if there are things that you guys want to do, take the cruise, take the, like, whatever that is. And then I think William's point too is like, how can we as siblings, as your kids, as grandkids, how can we help support that? Is that for Christmas, instead of getting you a bunch of gifts, we all throw in and we, pay for half of your cruise? Or you guys wanted to, go visit the 5 places that your grandparents got married and then try honeymoon, whatever the thing is. So I think that's a real positive way that I think we can launch into that conversation. So good words, William.
Yeah, it really was good. I think for me, I should have a hard conversation, a direct conversation with my parents. I feel like my dad is more the one I should talk to because he knows he's the one that's organizing whatever is being organized. And what I'd like to do is just ignore it for longer and have it materialize without me having to
let
be
it come to you.
But and that's probably what I'm going to do. But I'm telling the audience right now, I should schedule time with my dad to have a direct conversation with him about what will happen when he inevitably passes, even though I would prefer he never does.
That's
and
fair.
With your situation, Tyson, you could also approach it like pretty strictly business.
Straight business.
Too.
Yeah.
So that might make it a little easier.
Would it, or would it be more superficial?
No, I think it's a good way to get in.
Okay.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
Okay. Because that's the other thing too, is like, what happens to my finances that are wrapped into your finances when one of us isn't here? I don't know who's going to live longer between us two. Like, there's no way of knowing, but
yeah, that's true.
But yeah. So, and I think I'm an eternal optimist. I just assume it's going to be fine. Everything's going to work out. He's not going to die for a long time, and my parents are going to be healthy for a long time. And then everything afterwards is also going to work out. And most of the time that's worked out for me because I've just put that into the universe so hard at every single corner. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if that's why, but that's just how I've always been. And so that's also makes it hard to have the conversation where I'm like, it's probably going to be fine and work out anyway. So why do I want to have this uncomfortable, hard conversation with my dad, who historically for the last 72 years hasn't really liked divulging too much personal information, even to his closest people.
Yeah. I'm excited to hear how it goes.
Me too.
I'm excited for the update. Tell you that much. Okay. I'll watch that reality show.
Okay, so now I feel like you guys are peer pressuring me, but I do think it is good. I think you do have to have that conversation. I really wish it was easier. Maybe it's going to be easy, and I'm just stressing about it.
Yeah,
but
just making it into something bigger.
That's it. Anything else before we shut this thing down?
Well, that's the optimistic way to look at it, is that it's going to be easy anyway. So you might as well.
That's right. Yeah, that is true. So we encourage you, if you're in this similar situation, have those hard conversations before you can't have them. That's always better. And
if you have had these conversations, how did you do it?
Yes,
because that's going to help us, and that's going to help other people too.
How did you do it? Could you have done it better? Did you execute properly? What was your parents' reaction? I want to know all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And maybe that will be a future podcast from all of us as we have these conversations with our parents.
Yeah.
Cool. Great idea.
So, all right. That's it at Midlife Crisisses. Please like, subscribe, follow, share, all of those things. Chime in the chat. We've taken some of these questions that you've had and turned them into full podcast episodes, and we will continue to do so. So bring the questions, and we'll probably just ask more questions about the questions, but maybe have some answers as well. Till next week, I'm Tyson. That's William. That's Bradley.
So,
thanks, fam. See ya. Peace.
Bye.